Hey, what's going on, friends? SeanPierceJohnson here, and welcome to this week's episode of Stompbox Saturday, where today we are taking a look at the awesome G2 pedal from Revv Amplification. First off, I want to give Revv a major props, because a lot of times an amp company decides to get into the pedal game, and they go about doing the usual thing, which is kind of what Revv has done, of trying to take their amplifiers and put them into a pedal platform. However, what Revv has succeeded in doing here is not only create one of the best low to medium gain amp in a box distortion pedals that I've ever played, they've also crafted a package and an image that is all their own, and they deserve all the credit in the world for messing with the system, effing shiz up, and, well, creating a pedal that looks as good as it sounds. So let's go ahead, throw the pedal up on the screen, and you can bask in the glory of the G2. Now, this is the pedal that's supposed to replicate the green channel of the Revv Generator 120 amplifier. It's gonna be your more classic kind of crunchy tone, so it doesn't get that searing high gain that Revv has built a reputation on. But I think that this is the pedal that will show people that Revv is way more than just searing high gain. Now, it looks a lot like the other pedals in the G series, the G4 and the G3, except this comes in a nice, sexy, slimy green enclosure. Kind of reminds me of Slimer from Ghostbusters, which is fun. We have volume, gain, bass, middle, treble, and then the three-way drive switch. Now, on the other pedals, that's an aggression switch, but here it gives you different variations of that overdrive voicing for different kinds of overdrive tones. Now, in the middle, it's off, and so you're getting kind of an uncolored distortion sound. You're not getting so much clipping out of it. Now, the blue position in the up, that's gonna be a little bit more open, not gonna have as much gain to it, and it feels a little bit more dynamic. Flicking down to the red, we get a nice compressed crunch tone that doesn't go into the high gain territory so much, but it definitely has a little bit more sizzle. Notes are a little bit easier to play, and they ring out and sing out just a little bit more. Now, in my experience with the G2, there are three different situations which I really think are the best way to showcase what this pedal is all about. Just as a distortion pedal in front of a clean tone, in front of a power amp to utilize the G2 as a preamp, and finally, in front of a dirty channel to act as an overdrive pedal preamp kind of thing. So, if you have any questions about what the signal flow of all these portions of the video today are, please look down in the description below. All the info will be there. We will stick with the main Les Paul for now, but we might bring in the Jotun later on for some really searing high gain stuff, and you'll be able to hear how the different types of pickups that you put into the G2 influence the kind of tone you get. So let's get started. So we're plugged into a nice big clean amplifier. I'll switch to my neck pickup and let's play a few chords and hear how that sounds. Bridge pickup. It's clean. So let's get some nasty crunch. Now I'm going to turn the volume back a little bit, right about there, which for those of you not watching the video right now is around 11 o'clock on the dial. And I have the drive switch in the off position. Let's hear the gain range as we sweep through the gain knob of that off position and hear how that sort of uncolored drive sound is going to change the sound of our clean tone. So now we have the drive knob turned up to about 3 o'clock, and I'm not hearing so much more gain out of the pedal, but I'm starting to feel a little bit more compression to it. what's interesting about that is we're not really getting that much overdrive out of it. It's a crunch tone, but we're getting sort of a very open kind of sound. There's very little clipping, I feel, from the pedal. I feel like a lot of it is sort of clipping our guitar sound and boosting the front end of the clean tone that we're using. Now, to show you the difference, let's go back to 12 o'clock on the gain, and I'm going to switch from off to blue, back to off, and then to red. And you can hear the difference in the feel and tone of the gain when you use the drive switch. Immediately when we flick up to the blue mode, you can sense that, okay, now we're starting to add in that sizzle. Now we're really getting some clipping out of the pedal. Now go back to off and let's check out off versus red. I'm going to show you what I like to do in terms of using it in front of the clean tone as an amp in a box kind of thing. This is where I like the blue mode. Turn up the gain a little bit more to about 2 o'clock. We're going to add in a little bit of bass, add in a little bit of mids, and add in a hefty dose of treble. Now, a lot of us guitar players are starting to shift towards basing our rigs around pedal boards. The drawback with that is not every pedal that is an amp in a box feels very good. They sound close, but it's more about the feel. It doesn't inspire us as a player. Well, the G2 feels great, and you can use it as a way to get a nice distorted sound going into a pedal power amp. So we're gonna do just that. These are the settings that I typically like to use, and I find myself going back and forth between the red and the blue setting on the drive control. I'll start by playing this tone in the red, but then I'll switch to the blue. The difference is subtle, but it's different enough that it actually, with just this one setting, gives me a couple different options to play with depending upon my mood for whatever gig it is that I'm playing. So let's check it out. going to the blue mode, let's hear that again. And even though this is a crunchy tone, that feels a little bit more saturated thanks to the fact that I've got EMGs in this particular guitar. But let's say you don't have EMGs. Is that going to be kind of a searing tone, or is that going to be just a little bit more crunchy? Well, how about we change things up and grab the Navigator and plug some single coils into this very same tone. Now let's hear the blue setting on the drive control. It really is a great feeling pedal. If you're using it as a preamp, you're going to get a lot of mileage out of it, even if you don't put the gain up all that much. As a matter of fact, I'll go ahead and back off the gain and just play around a little bit for you, and you can kind of get a sense for, at a lower gain setting, how well it works as a preamp and how dynamic it can be. Now, I love my rocker Revv. It's been my main amp for well over a decade, but sometimes I feel like I might need to put a pedal in front of the dirty channel to get a little bit more out of it. A little bit more tone shaping, a little bit more distortion, you know, that whole thing. But I feel like With the drive switch in the off position, the G2 is a total secret weapon overdrive preamp pedal. I don't get a whole lot of clipping from the pedal itself on this setting. I'm mostly using the output to push the front end, but having that EQ to just tailor that boost sound ever so slightly, everything is set right where it needs to be to make the dirty channel sound just more. Let's hear that dirty channel first. Obviously, with these EMGs, we get a little bit of extra sizzle as well, but they also have a little bit of extra low end to it that we might need to shave off a little bit going into the amplifier. So using the settings that I have on the G2, let's hear it now. Oh, that's tight. Ooh, I like that. And that, my friends, is the Rev G2 distortion overdrive secret weapon pedal. This has been one of my favorite pedals to get to know. I have played the other two Rev pedals and they feel great. They remind me very much of their amplifiers. But this one, it is going to be the pedal that shows everyone that has probably shied away from a Rev amp because they see it as this one-trick pony thing. No. Rev is not a one-trick pony company. They are not making one style of amplifier. They are making amplifiers for everyone. This pedal proves it, and quite frankly, the D20 that I played at NAMM, it's a clean pedal platform, and that proves it too. Rev is churning out some awesome stuff. I hope we can see some more in the future. A big thanks to Dan and Dereck at Rev for sending this my way. I'm having a blast with it. And hopefully we'll be seeing more from Rev on the channel in the future. And in the meantime, as we await that opportunity, I would love to know what you guys thought of the G2. You can let me know your thoughts, positive or negative, in the comments section below. And I would greatly appreciate it if you click the subscribe button, turned on some notifications, and came back next week for another episode of Stompbox Saturday. But if you'd like to see everything that I do before anybody else in the world, as well as get some access to some exclusive content, go ahead and join my Patreon page and become a patron today. It's always awesome that you guys choose to spend part of your Saturday with me. My gratitude is endless for that. Thank you all so much for your support. And until next week, my friends, I'm SeanPierceJohnson, and I wish you all out there great tone and happy stomping. Cheers, everybody.